Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking, wait, why do I feel weird right now? Or maybe someone was being overly nice to you, then suddenly distant, and you couldn't figure out what changed? That's psychology, not the textbook kind. The kind that happens in your everyday life, in messages, arguments, subtle pauses, and small gestures. You're either using it or it's being used on you. Let's talk about some things you've probably seen or even done without realizing how powerful they actually are. There's this thing about silence. It makes people really uncomfortable. Like, have you ever asked someone something serious and they gave you a dry answer? If instead of immediately reacting, you just said nothing, just waited, they'd probably start talking again. Because silence feels like pressure. They want to escape it, so they fill it. And that's usually when the truth slips out. It's the same in arguments. Most people say, "You never listen to me," or "You always do this." And what happens? The other person shuts down. But when you say, "I feel like I'm not being heard," you're not attacking. You're sharing. And that makes people more likely to listen instead of fight. Body language is another thing we all think we understand. But here's something most people miss. Feet. We control our face. We fake smiles. We keep our tone polite. But feet? We forget about them. If someone's feet are pointing away from you, even if they're smiling, their mind might already be somewhere else. You can notice this all the time. In conversations, meetings, even on a date. And here's one that always throws people off. Someone doesn't need to avoid eye contact to be lying. In fact, some liars stare too much to seem confident. What really gives them away is what happens after they answer. That quick shift in the eyes or body, like their brain just finished calculating. That's the moment to watch. Also, try this sometime. Ask someone something serious, like, "Are you actually okay with how this went?" If they say, "Yeah, it's fine," don't respond. Just pause. That pause will eat them alive. And most of the time, you'll hear something like, "Well, actually," and now you're finally getting the real answer. Want someone to feel more comfortable around you? Mirror them. Not in a creepy way, just subtly. If they're leaning forward, you lean in too. If they speak quietly, lower your voice. It creates a sense of similarity. And the brain loves people like me. It builds trust fast, without a word. Here's something weird but true. The more you see someone, the more you like them. Even if you barely talk. Just being around someone regularly, at the gym, on your street, in your class, makes them feel more familiar. And familiarity feels safe. That's why brands repeat the same ads. They're trying to earn your trust through repetition. When it comes to persuading people, here's what most don't realize. The first thing you say sets the tone for everything after. This is called anchoring. But forget the name. Just remember this. If you start by saying, "Most people pay $200 for this, but I'll do it for $150, then $150 sounds like a deal. Even if it's still a lot. You've trained the brain to compare, not to think objectively. Another one that works shockingly well. Start small. Let's say you want your friend to help you with a big favor next week. Don't start with that. Start with something tiny. "Hey, can you help me carry this for a sec?" Once they say yes, they're more likely to say yes again later. Because we like to stay consistent with ourselves. Saying yes once makes us more likely to say it again. And last one of my favorites. Sometimes someone avoids eye contact, not because they don't care, but because they care too much, especially in dating. Looking you in the eyes might feel too real, too vulnerable, so they glance away. They fidget. They look nervous. It's not rejection. It's feeling overwhelmed by emotion. So next time someone looks away while smiling, don't assume they're not interested. Psychology isn't magic. But once you start noticing these little patterns in conversations, body language, silence, it almost feels like having a superpower. So now I'm wondering, which of these did you recognize in someone else? And which ones do you think you've done? Let me know in the comments. and stick around. We've got a lot more to uncover about how your mind and everyone else's really works.